Think back to the last time you were probably ill. So, not a bit tired, actually ill, flat out, couldn't get up. Anyway, do you remember what happened in the house? Somebody couldn't find something, and somebody didn't know what time the thing was. There was a small crisis over something that isn't a crisis on any other day of the year. And somebody said, maybe out loud, possible for the first time ever, how on earth do you do all this? And for about a day and a half, you were visible. And then you got better and it closed over again like water. So the only time anybody really sees what you carry is when you don't carry it. And today I want to tell you why that happens, because it isn't that they don't care about you. It's stranger than that, and honestly, it's a bit crueler.
You're not ungrateful. You're awake. This is the Dignity Room, a place that's always yours. Come in.
So last week we named the mental load, all that anticipating and monitoring that leaves no evidence behind. If you started that list, what we talked about in the last episode, I would love to know how fast it filled up. And today's episode maybe stings a little bit. And yeah, because today we're going to look at the part your own competence plays in all of this. Not to blame you for it, to show you the trap in it, because I don't think anybody ever shown you. So it's same deal like always. It's a name, it's the reason, and three things at the end. So here's the thing nobody ever says to you. Nobody ever thanked you for something that didn't go wrong. Let's say 3 weeks ago, you noticed something early, a date that clashed, a thing that was going to run out, somebody who has heading for a bad week. And you quietly moved 4 things around and it never became a problem. Nobody knows that happened. There's nothing to know. The problem you prevented has no name, no date, no proof it ever existed. Meanwhile, if you would missed it, everybody would have known about that by, let's say, Thursday. So the score in your house looks like this. Things going well, invisible. Things going wrong, extremely visible. And you are the only person playing. And then there's the second half of it, which is worse, because you are going at this. You're good at this. So you are good at all of that. And so you get more of it because you are so good at it. So if something new appears, like a form or a phone call, a thing that has to be arranged with someone difficult, where does it go? It goes to you. Not because anybody sat down and decided that. It goes to you because it will be fine if it goes to you. So the reward for handling everything well is more things to handle. And the reward for handling those well is more again. That's the only pay raise. That's the only pay raise this job has ever offered. Okay, why does this happen? Two things. And the first one is just how brains work. So it's called habituation, and it's one of the most reliable things in psychology. Your nervous system is built to stop registering anything that stays the same. You know it already. There's a hum in your kitchen you can't hear anymore. The smell of your own house, which you can smell, but every visitor can. You stop noticing what doesn't change. And that isn't a moral failing, it's a design feature. If you noticed everything constant around you all day, you couldn't functioning. So think about what you've built. A household that runs reliably, consistently, never a gap, never a wobble, no surprises. You've made yourself into a constant, and constants are exactly what human beings stop perceiving. And there's a name for what that turns you into. And I got this one from a place you wouldn't expect. There's a whole field that studies infrastructure, water, power, roads, the pipes under the street. And one of the defining features of infrastructure, so the thing that makes it infrastructure, is that it's invisible until it breaks. Nobody thinks about water. Everyone thinks about a burst pipe. You become infrastructure, not a person in the house, the thing the house runs on. Which is why the day you were ill was the day everybody suddenly saw it. That wasn't them finally paying attention. That was a pipe bursting. So now the second part, which is about where work goes. There's a piece of research I keep coming back to. Linda Babcock, Lisa Westerlund, and their colleagues have spent years studying what they call non-promotable tasks. The job that have to be done, that nobody gets credit for, and that don't lead anywhere. Organizing the things, sorting out the problem, the office equivalent of remembering the birthdays. They published it in the American Economist Review in 2017, and there's been building on it since. What they found was that women get asked to do these tasks more, that women say yes more. And the part I find most interesting, that the reason they get asked more is that everybody expects them to say yes. So it's not a decision anybody makes. It's a habit the whole room has to request goes where the yes is. Now, that was measured in workplaces, not in kitchens. I want to be straight with you about that, but you know exactly what I'm describing because it's the same physics in your hallway. Work flows toward whoever absorbs it. Every time you absorb something without a word, quietly and well, you make it very slightly more likely that the next one comes to you too. And before that lands wrong, that isn't you being a doormat. And I'm not about to tell you to just say no more. You absorbed it because things needed doing and you are the one who can see them. That's not a weakness. That's competence and love doing exactly what they do. It's just that the system doesn't know the difference between competence and consent. It only reads the outcome, and the outcome every single time is handled. So when we put those two things together, then we get a genuinely nasty little trap. The one thing that makes this visible is failure. And you will never let it fail because when it fails, the people you pay for it are the people you love. Which means you are standing in a place where the only exit is a door you would never walk through. And I want to say something clearly because there's a version of this advice going round and it's rubbish. Nobody should be telling you to let it all fall apart so they finally notice. Nobody should be telling you to run yourself into the ground until somebody sees it. Breaking down thus makes you visible for about a day and a half, and then it closes over. Exactly like it did the last time. And you know you are also ill and behind and quietly ashamed of yourself. That's not a strategy. That's just the bill arriving. The way out isn't breaking. It's being seen without breaking, which means somebody has to make the work visible on purpose. Deliberately in the daylight instead of waiting for a pipe to burst. And right now, there's exactly one person in your house who can see that work. So it starts with her. And back then, I did the same thing. I did everything without any saying. So I handled everything, I do everything. And on one day, I recognized, okay, this can't be like it is. So there's something wrong that I'm the only person who does everything and the other person does nothing. So there has to be something to change. So I was in the same situation and I have to deal with this same thing too. And I know how nerve-wracking this could be and how tired it can be for like how you feel when you do this all the time. So let's do something about it, right? So 3 things to take with you. First, you didn't become invisible in spite of doing it well. You become invisible because you did it well. Consistency is what erases things. You build something that never wobbles, and human beings stop seeing what never wobbles. That's habituation, and it's not personal, and it's not because you're not loved. And the reason the work keeps arriving at your feet is that the work flows towards whoever absorbs it. Every quiet yes teaches the whole house where things go. Second, something to notice is weak, and this one's a bit different because it's not about them, it's about you. Here's the thing about habituation. It happens to you as well. You've stopped seeing it too. What you do all day doesn't feel like skill to you. It just feels like Tuesday. So this week, when you handle something, name it in your head, one word, what it actually what you actually was. So say it in your head what it actually was. That was forecasting. That was negotiation. That was crisis management. That was project management with no budget and no team. Because if you say the work is invisible, and then I ask you what you do, and you say, oh, nothing really, just the usual things, then there are two of us in the room who can see it. And one of them can be fixed this week by naming it. And third, one thing to try, one sentence out loud once this week. Not a complaint, not a request. You are not asking for help and you are not starting anything. You're just narrating one invisible piece into the air of the room. Something like, I moved 3 things around today so that could happen. Or I've been keeping an eye on that for about a month. Then stop talking. Don't explain it. Don't justify it. Don't turn it into a conversation. Say it and carry on with what you are doing right now. It's like more giving information to the people around you. Hey, I'm doing this for that long, just to let you know. To get also the other people aware of these things. And the point isn't that they say back. I want to be really clear about that, because if you measure this by their reaction, you will be disappointed and you will never do it again. So do it only for yourself. The point is that for the first time, the work existed out loud. You remember the other ones of that in the room with other people in it. And that's it. That's the whole thing. Keeping the people aware of all the things that you are doing. And if you say it and get nothing back, that isn't the experiment failing. You said it. That was the task, period. And if you find you can't say it at all, if it gets to Sunday and the sentence is still sitting in your throat, that's not failure either. That's information. And honestly, it's more useful information than the sentence would have been. Notice what stopped you. We are going to need that later. So recognize that. Recognize why you can't say it. What holds you back? What was your thought about it? What keeps you holding it for yourself and don't saying it out loud? And don't keep it in your head either. Like we talked about also in the last episode. Write these things down. Get you a beautiful notebook, journal, whatever, and write these things down, raw, unfiltered. To get back to these things, to remember that, and also to have something written down when it comes to some arguments or some discussions, or when you sit down with your partner and talk about these things, then you have everything written down and you can build on that and you have an evidence of all the things, what you have to remember, what you have to do, and so on. This is very, very important for later to change things, because only when you have something you can point on, you can start to change somewhere, okay?
That's all for today. If you're ready to do more than listen, to speak, to be heard, to walk this with other women, we've built a place for that. It's called Dignity Queens, and it comes alive when you join in. You'll find it in the show notes. This was the Dignity Room, a place that's always yours.